Welcome back to the program. And of course, it's time for us to bring our very first conversation for the day. And it has to do with the recent decision of a court in Ondo State nullifying that LCDA is being created by the former governor of the state, the late Arakunri Oluwarotimi Akeredolu. 33 of them in number. LCDA is just like we have in Lagos State, which brought the total number of councils in the state to about 51, given that it has 18 local government areas. And such has been repeated in a couple of other states in the Southwest. So what does this mean for the people who are already occupying that state, where those LCDAs who are being funded by the government, which is why we're having the people in the know to make sense of the situation. It appears this period, there's a lot of legal issues going on around the polity, and the legal minds are the right people to talk to. I've been joined in the program via Zoom by a legal practitioner, Mr. Tolu Babalaye. He joins us via Zoom. Mr. Babalaye, thank you so much for coming on the program. And in our Lagos studio right here with me is Dr. Benson Inukomain. He's also a legal practitioner. Thank you, sir, for coming on the program.
The pleasure is mine. Good evening.
Let me come to you, Mr. Babalaye, on this particular issue of the court decision. But I may not want to start exactly with the decision of court. Let me start beyond the legalese. How important are LCDAs? Mr. Babalaye, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Oh, fantastic. I was saying before we jump into all the nitty-gritty of the judgment that ensued today in Akure, just to lay a bit of a foundation, how important the LCDAs are as far as the Ondo State government is concerned.
Well, LCDA is very important because that is where the that is the government that has direct interaction, the first direct interaction with the people, because that is the grassroots government. So it is very important and very sensitive to the psyche of an average Ondo State person. And that is why it generated a lot of interest when the issue came up. So it is very important to Ondo State people.
Let me come to you, Dr. Benson. Is it that important?
Well, I want to say yes, it is, but there is a narrative that I'm not being pleased with. Associating that to Akeredolu alone is not being fair. It happened during his tenure as governor, and all APC members were party to it. The present governor of Ondo State was its deputy. And the House of Assembly, whether rightly or wrongly, the court has said it's wrong, passed the law. And so we shouldn't ascribe it to Akeredolu because Akeredolu is not here now. That he was the one who did it. No, it happened in the government of APC in Ondo State. All of them, the chairman of the party in the state, all members, all ESCO members, the present deputy governor, the present governor who was deputy governor, the members of the House of Assembly were all party to that decision. So we shouldn't say Akeredolu did it. It was not him alone. Everybody was involved. Therefore, getting the government nearer to the people is nice. However, you must follow the procedure that will bring that to bear. The people must be carried along. The people must know. It's not a decision you take when you wake up in the night on the wrong side of the bed. No, it's a decision that must be carefully and critically assessed. And I think our people were saying, no, these decisions were not right. There are people who have protested that some local governments were divided into 4, 5, smaller than bigger local governments. You take into consideration the land mass, the population. Some of these factors were not considered. So when the court came down today with the judgment that the creation was an error, illegal, and does not follow the law, we all raise up our hands in prayers. Correct. That was right. Because again, how do you take care of this LCDA? Which funds do Ondo State have? Except you take from the original local government to fund the LCDA. For example, in Ilaje, I was told that we had about 3 additional ones. So you must take funds from Ilaje local government and distribute it among these local governments that are not LCDA, that are not viable. The court was right. I'm in support of what the court did.
All right, Mr. Babale, apparently, I don't know whether you share his position, so maybe you give us a take. We're not there in courts. We don't have the CTC to know the thinking of his Lord Justice on this particular one. So what was the thinking, and what is your position as far as this judgment is concerned?
Well, I was the lead counsel in the judgment. I was the lead counsel to the claimants in this judgment. So the thinking of court was that Section 8 of the 1999 Constitution was not followed to create additional local government. The court emphasized and compared the process of creation in Ondo State with that of Lagos that went all the way to the Supreme Court and came to the conclusion that that of Ondo State was not done in a way that was stated by the Constitution. For example, there was no referendum conducted anywhere in Ondo State to determine whether the people actually wanted LCDA to be created. So, and also, the court nullified the creation and the law that created it because the law was signed outside Ondo State at Ibadan. And the court made analogy before going that route that there are 3 arms of government: the legislature, executive, and the judiciary. The legislature is the lawmakers. In the case of Inakoju and Adeleke, that has to do with the removal of Ladoja. Ladoja was removed by the House of Assembly members in Oyo State in a hotel. The court said no, that all activities of the House of Assembly must be carried out in the hollow chamber of the House of Assembly. Then when it comes to judiciary, the court has jurisdiction, territorial jurisdiction. In fact, no matter how close another state is to Ondo State High Court cannot go to Ikere Ekiti, which is the closest community in Ekiti State, which is just about a 25 minutes drive from Akure, to go and sit. It will become illegal, except if there is breakdown of law and order. So the same thing with the executive, that we have a palatial government house built for our governors. So if a House of Assembly cannot conduct their affairs outside Ondo State, judiciary cannot conduct cases outside their territorial jurisdiction. So how come that the governor, who is the executive, will now go to another state to go and sign a law? So because of that, it is illegal, null and void, and of no effect whatsoever. So on this, those major 2 grounds, that 1, the Constitution was not followed. If you look at Section 8, subsection 1 to 5, everything is stipulated there. And 2, the law itself that was made by the House of Assembly was signed outside the shore of Ondo State. And the court did what I call judicial tsunami and hacked down that law. So, and that brought an end to the 33 local governments. I mean, that even though the government was trying to say that what they created was LCDA and not local government, but when you look at the law creating it, the title is creation of Ondo State creation of local government law 2023. Even from the name of the law, the intention of the lawmakers is very clear that what they wanted to create is a local government. So, and on the issue of the financing of the local government, they said the Ondo State government and the 18 local governments, 18 local government, will be financing the newly created LCDA, which has now been nullified. So that's the position. On the issue of whether it was APC members that did it, the local government were not created for APC members. It was created for Ondo State, whether you are PDP, APC, or BU anybody. It was not a question of APC members alone. It was creation of Ondo State people. And to be saying that the deputy governor was there, this was there, well, it might be right, but we all knew the crisis during the creation of this local government. Particularly when this local government was taken to Ibadan. I mean, when the law was taken to Ibadan, that was the very day they chased out the deputy governor away from that meeting. So we are all students of history, and we knew what happened at that time. So try to hang it on the deputy governor who is not the governor or any other person. I do not share that opinion. So because, for example, Akoko people in Ondo State, which share the same territorial jurisdiction with Owo. Owo is a federal constituency. Akoko has 2 federal constituencies. So during the creation, Owo became 8 local governments. While Akoko became 9 local governments. If equity has been followed, and if the principle of population has been followed, Akoko should have 16 local governments, while Owo we have 8 local government. Because when you look at 2006 population figure, Owo is just half of Akoko in population. But that was not followed. So we have a situation where every street in Owo had a local government.
All right, Mr. Papa, let me bring you back to the studio. So, Dr. Benson, on this particular one. So we understand issues of, as you mentioned, referendum, issues of population size and all of that. So where does this leave the state government now? Now, the local government or local council development or administration authority, they've now been dissolved or nullified. Does this mean they have to do it the right way, or they should just forget about the idea? What does this mean in law?
I come to that. I want to believe that my learned friend, Mr. Babaleye, heard me well. I didn't say that the incumbent governor presently is the cause of the local government creation. I didn't say so. I said we cannot ascribe this only to Akeredolu, that it was the administration. And the administration is the government of APC in Ondo State. I have also not said that the creation will not affect every other party, PDP, APC, PPP, MPP, no. But there was a government in saddle. So if there's going to be any responsibility of blame that should be ascribed, it should be ascribed to that particular government, from the legislature to the executive, exempting the judiciary in this respect. That was my contention. Now, as regards the what the government should do, I think it is wisdom to learn that the court of the law of the land has declared this law illegal, null and void, and of no moment. And that should rest it. Because if you are to carry a people along, you must do a referendum, like Mr. Babaleye said. You must, all those things must be followed. You can't just wake up and then do it as if to say it's a military command. And I think the court was right. The issue of the governor signing outside the state, novel as it were, but it follows the pattern in the decision of Inokoju and Adeleke, that the House of Assembly cannot leave the hallowed chamber and go somewhere else to go and make law. The Supreme Court, Nikki Toby, JSC, and all others, faulted that action of the House of Assembly. I also agree with him that the governor cannot leave Ondo State and go to any part of the state. In the governor's case, the whole state is his constituency. The law could be made here in Akure, and it could be in Owo, or in Ilaje, or Akoko, and sign it. It is still within Ondo State jurisdiction. But to go outside the state, I think the court was right in saying, no, that cannot be done. And again, that was the thing we were complaining about. At that particular point, the governor was already becoming indisposed He couldn't come to Ondo State to sign. Akeredolu SAN, I worked with him for about a year as senior special assistant on oil and gas. I know how we do it. But at that particular time, the man was becoming incapacitated. And those who were managing the issues were feeling they could do it anyhow, in any manner, in any way. Now they have learned the lesson that things must be done properly and in order. Because at the end of the day, somebody must be watching you.
So does this mean geographical location impacts on legislation at that level?
Of a truth, because the legislation is localized, has a jurisdiction. This LCDA does not cross over to Ogun. It does not cross over to Oyo. It does not cross over to Edo. It operates within Ondo State alone. And actions that must be taken in Ondo State. Like the House of Assembly couldn't leave their hallowed chamber to go to Owo Town to go and make the law. The law must be made in the hallowed chambers, as decided in Inokoju's case. In the same way, the governor also, in signing, must sign that law in Ondo State. Not signing in Ondo State makes it unlawful.
Mr. Babale, let me go to Mr. Babale on this particular one. So, will it be out of place to represent this law? And now that we have a substantive governor, and despite what has happened in court, the court has nullified it. You've given all the reasons for the nullification of that particular law creating LCDAs. Is it out of place to reframe and resend it to the House of Assembly so that this remains a situation in the state, or this is no longer a possibility, just like I asked Dr. Benson? Dr. Babale, that's for you. Mr. Babale, if you can unmute, and if you got my question.
Yes, I got the question.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you. Go ahead, please.
Government is a continuum. And the government can decide to say, we want to start again, all over again. But all the principles that are enunciated by court has to be followed to the letter. Otherwise, it will follow the same pattern. It will also collapse because people are more conscious of their rights. So if you want to do it, you have to follow the principle of equality, equity, and equal distribution. And the population of the state has to be followed. And there must be a referendum to actually determine whether the people really want to have a local government created. And you must follow geography. For example, there's a particular local government where a community they call Ikun Akoko was taken from one local government. They crossed about 2 communities and joined it with another local government. The same thing with Oba. They cross Supare, cross Akungba, cross Iwaro, and they now join it with where they call Akoko Southwest. These are geographical infractions when it comes to the local government. And there must be contiguity. What I mean by contiguity is that you must put people of the same culture, of the same background together, not balkanizing them like the way it was done in this nullified local government created. So they have to be meticulous and follow all the due processes in the creation. And the House of Assembly is too must be up and doing. It's not a situation where you take a law to the House of Assembly today, and the same day it is passed into law, will not bring the best of law. So what the other House of Assembly of Ondo State did, according to the court, was just to copy and paste that of Lagos without, minding the peculiar situation in Lagos. They copy and paste that of Lagos. It cannot work in Ondo State.
Without throwing the baby on the bathwater, has there been any form of development given the further splitting of local government areas to local government councils since this has happened? Because what we've seen in some states, it looks like, or it feels like, or being perceived as, rather than these structures engendering democracy or trickling down development to the people? It looks like more of a political structure for the political class. What have you seen?
Well, I'm glad that this law was brought down, first and foremost. And since its creation, I don't think anything meaningful has taken place in that respect. The day the caretaker members were sworn in, it was almost around midnight, around 9 o'clock in the evening, when the caretaker members were handpicked, and then they were sworn in, only chairman and vice chairman. It was something that was very ridiculous, and we are glad that this has come to an end now. And like Mr. Babaleye said, let's do it properly and let the people be involved in it. This is not military administration where you just drum it down the throat. The people of the same culture, contiguity of communities, the people must show willingness. We must understand ourselves. You cannot take people from, maybe for Elijah, for example, and go and put them in Ijo asses. It won't work. And that is what we are saying, that when government wants to take a decision, they must do it well. Let me come to the House of Assembly. Men and women who should go to the assembly must be people who know. They must not be handpicked by the governor. They must be people whom we vote for, who appreciate the fact that they are representing the people. If not, you cannot just go to Lagos State and then rank zeros what was done in Lagos State, and then you move on and pass it. Oh, the leader of the party has sent it to us. No debate, no serious constitutional issue being raised, and as soon as somebody dissents, you say, oh, he's fighting the governor. And this is what we are seeing. So it is a shame that they went ahead and rubber stamped this. If they have stood their ground, why the rush? They would have done the needful, they would have done it properly. People will appreciate what they have done, but what was done is food that was not cooked well.
All right, Mr. Babale, as we begin to wind down, what was the argument of from the government side? Because we seem to know what was the argument on the part on those who were not part or who did not believe in the process that was followed by the State House of Assembly to make this happen. Kindly unmute, because
the argument, can you hear me now?
Absolutely.
Yes, the argument from the government side was that they did not create local government. That what they created was Local Council Development Area, LCDA. That was the argument. And that was the reason why they did not follow Section 8 of the Constitution. That because they wanted to create LCDA, they do not need to follow the Constitution. Now, assuming that they want to create local government, they will have followed the Constitution. But the argument was very porous in the sense that the law itself that created the so-called LCDA was titled Ondo State Creation of Local Government Law 2023. And all the sections of the law were referring to local government, local government, local government. Even there was a white paper on Ondo Committee. All the sections of the white paper refer to local government, local government, local government. So the court now said that it is the intention of the lawmakers that matters in interpretation of statute. And because of that, he finds from the evidence before the court that what the law was trying to create was local government and not LCDA. So that was the only argument. Another argument was that the people who came to the court had no local standing, and that the people who came to the court did not represent Akoko people. So, but the governor did not agree with them because the local standing is determined by the case of the plaintiff. And to the court, he said the people of Akoko, as represented by Lawan, Robitan, and 21 others, and 2 NGOs of Akoko Consultative Forum and Akoko Development Initiative, have enough local standing to defend the interests of their people. So, and that is, court did not find it difficult in coming to, to the conclusion that the LCDAs were illegal and they were all hacked down.
Okay, apparently there's a question I wanted to ask, but I understand we do not have any more time because apparently it looks like there was no doubt about the powers of the Assembly to make laws for the good of the people, but procedure was the issue. But I must thank you, Dr. Benson Enokohen, as well as Mr. Tolu Babalaye, all legal practitioners, to bring perspective to this particular issue of Ondo State and the LCDAs that has now been nullified. But let's see how things play out in the future. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming on the program.
The pleasure is mine. Good evening.
We are very grateful.
Well, we will go on a quick break. When we come back, some kind of a consolidation of all the legal issues that we've seen at the subnational level, from Ondo that we just spoke about to Kano, chieftaincy tussle, to the issue in Rivers. We'll harmonize them where a senior advocate of Nigeria will bring perspective and some interpretation. Join us again.